Phase 5 of Marvel Studios has officially started, and the hype is starting to build for this entire phase of the multiverse saga. No Avengers film is planned for this phase, but there are potentials for a lot of team-ups within the MCU. As of January 2023, this is what Phase 5 has planned for the MCU. Many of these projects don't have an exact release date yet, so we still have time waiting on these projects to even start production. Also, a quick shout out to What If Season 2. Some of that season has already been shot and edited during Phase 4, but the second season is something that I still have circled on my calendar. This is my personal list, so if you have your own rankings of Phase 5 projects that are upcoming, share those in the comment section below. So let's get on to the first thing on my list, and that's Agatha, Coven of Chaos. Agatha, Coven of Chaos is set for a late 2023 or early 2024 release date, and brings back Kathryn Hahn as Agatha Harkness. In WandaVision, she and Wanda were at odds for the Book of the Darkhold. Agatha basically awoke the Scarlet Witch and was forced to stay in the town of Westview. Beforehand, as Agnes, Harkness tried to manipulate the Scarlet Witch to her will. While falling short of her main goal, Agatha is also known as a teacher for those who share similar gifts to her and Wanda. I'm looking forward to the show, but I had to put the project somewhere on my list. I enjoyed WandaVision a lot, and Agatha was a good central reason why. Kathryn Hahn is incredibly talented in both comedy and drama shows, so she definitely deserves a shot at the role. I keep this low on my list for now, but don't be surprised if the show's importance is bigger than we might think. The events of this show are supposedly going to put Agatha in a mentor role teaching others, so it should be a fun show with plenty of banter and MCU Easter eggs. Next on my list is The Marvels. Captain Marvel did well introducing Carol Danvers into the MCU, and now she'll be doing her first big team up for her sequel. Following the events of Ms. Marvel, Carol Danvers, Kamala Khan, and Monica Rambeau begin swapping places with each other every time they use their powers and must team up to figure out why. The movie will follow Carol as she deals with the Kree Empire after the events of the first movie. This war and destruction eventually leads to a destabilizing universe. A good chance to tie in Kang or the multiverse saga would be there as well. But when Carol goes into the wormhole linked with the Kree conflict, her powers are all messed with. This results in the switching bodies or places of Carol Danvers, Ms. Marvel, and Monica Rambeau. Monica, being the niece of Captain Marvel, shares that cosmic connection. The three must find each other and take on the Kree conflict while dealing with the destabilizing universe. Love the concept of the film and the idea of teaming up the Marvels. Zawe Ashton will be the main villain, but her role is still unconfirmed. With very little seen over this project, that is why I keep this lower on my rankings. The movie is set for a summer 2023 release date, so there's not a lot of time left for Marvel Studios to hide this project from MCU fans. But let's go on to number 10, and that's Season 1 of Echo. The first season is set for a late 2023 release date, with Alka Cox returning as Maya Lopez and Echo. Two other notable characters joining the show are Charlie Cox as Daredevil and Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. The film's premise follows Echo as she returns to her home after the problems from New York City. While trying to embrace more of her past and heritage, the past follows her back over home. This show will most likely explore the concept of family and community. It looks like the film is set in Oklahoma, home of many Native American tribes, and myself, and even some remnant tribes from the Trail of Tears live in the state, so it'll be interesting to see how the history plays a factor into this MCU show. After all, we saw how the partition between India and Pakistan affected the overall season of Ms. Marvel. But a history that Maya will probably try to hide from her family is the life that she had in New York City when working for Wilson Fisk. Drawing Echo out from hiding will be the Kingpin's way of revenge for the events of Hawkeye. Echo is also a sign language based character, so it'll be exciting to see how different this show will set itself from others in Phase 5. Ironheart brings back another familiar face from Phase 4 in Dominique Thorne as Riri Williams, aka Ironheart. The show is slated for 6 episodes, so I expect it all to form together as her origin story. Thorne was interviewed months back and said that Riri won't be a typical or traditional superhero in the MCU. Being a smart and successful student in college will weigh her down along with superhero duties. After Wakanda Forever, Riri was told that she should take her new vibranium-based suit back to the US. This probably was done to prevent the US government from chasing her down further. Her next suit in Ironheart will show something not made of vibranium. It sounds like Riri Williams will have a quote-unquote build this in a cave with a box of scraps moment in the show. I think Riri will have some conflict in college that will maybe result in her making a new suit. With the chance of Robert Downey Jr. returning in a small role, maybe she'll get some good AI-based help. I think a journey for Riri to create her first suit will be a main plotline for Season 1. My excitement is pretty high as a fan of the original Iron Man trilogy. However, Thorne will have a big undertaking being the next tech-based hero in the MCU. Sam Wilson had to succeed Captain America directly, so will Riri have some Stark legacy to live up to as well? We'll find out in fall 2023. Next up on my list is Blade. Mahershala Ali's Blade is currently listed as the last MCU project to release in Phase 5. This means the very littlest detail for this film. but the Daywalker is already a presence in the MCU. Having a small voiceover role in the post-credit scene of the Eternals, Blade will be battling some of the darkest and most hidden forces in the MCU. Fighting over the Ebony Blade could be a storyline that we follow in the film. I expect this film to at least explore his origins and follow a similar tone to Werewolf by Night. That means characters from that show like Elsa Bloodstone could find themselves on this project. Kit Harington's Black Knight could also make a cameo scene. With this being a film rather than a series, I expect the film to tie in with some other MCU projects, perhaps possibly Doctor Strange, maybe Ghost Rider. Do I expect Blade to show up in Secret Wars? Probably not, but there should be a narrative connection to the multiverse saga. If Marvel Studios wants to plan a Midnight Sun storyline, Blade might be the right character to do that introduction for. Next on my list is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. After Quantumania, MCU fans will bid farewell to this run of Guardians with James Gunn leaving for DC. The first two films were done well and blended the humor with charm to a T. While the first movie outdid expectations, the third will have even bigger expectations and will need to bring closure to many characters and storylines. Volume 3 will also introduce us into the new characters into the MCU that might be carrying on the legacy of the Guardians. The premise is that the Guardians purchased Nowhere, the former celestial now made world. They attempt to make this world a good place for exploring and lost alien refugees. No doubt Star-Lord has other Gamora-related motivation behind this deed. Trouble will run into their way when a brutal attack occurs. This likely will be when the High Evolutionary will strike and attempt to kidnap Rocket Raccoon. Afterwards, the Guardians must go on a last dangerous mission to rescue him. This mission will also put them in conflict with the likes of Adam Warlock, played by Will Poulter. There are big stakes, conflicts, and emotions in play for the final Guardians of the Galaxy film of this trilogy. The film drops in May 2023, so drop down any quick predictions for the comment section. Also, we're all going to get a look into Baby Raccoon. It's going to be nice, it's going to be heartwarming, and we're all probably going to cry. Can't wait. Next on my list is Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion will put Samuel L. Jackson in a lead role for the first time in the history of the MCU. After taking a small hiatus, it looks to clean up after the events of Endgame. However, he's put in conflict with Skrull enemies, aliens with shape-shifting abilities. Skrulls originally appeared in Captain Marvel and since then have been allies of both Carol Danvers and Nick Fury. Living amongst the humans, some Skrulls have a desire to take control and overrun them. This eventually leads to a whole infiltration of Earth and will pin possibly hero versus hero. Skrulls have been around for a long time and have had time to infiltrate governments. They have also infiltrated SWORD or Nick Fury's former Central Intelligence, while also being a political thriller. This show is expected to dive into the humble beginnings of Nick Fury. I'm excited for the project. Featuring 6 episodes, Secret Invasion will also feature big names like Emilia Clarke, Olivia Colman, Martin Freeman, and Ben Mendelsohn. Kingsley Ben-Adir will play the main villain, Gravik, the leader of this rogue Skrull faction. The next thing on my list is Captain America New World Order, and much like Captain America Civil War, there will be another conflict caused by Thunderbolt Ross. New World Order will be a big tie-in to Kang Dynasty. With an ambitious title, I expect the film to feature a very ambitious cast and story. Harrison Ford looks to make an appearance as Thunderbolt Ross and even as the Red Hulk, possibly. Tim Blake Nelson will also return to the MCU, this time as a leader. Danny Ramirez will be back after the events of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, being allied with Sam Wilson's Captain America. Julius Ono will direct the project, slated for May 2024. No major plot details have emerged yet, but the cast will feature many comic book heroes along with villains. With production not starting until March 2023, there is still a lot of information that fans will be waiting for during Phase 5. I expect huge connections between this movie and the next Avengers film. I could even see a scenario to where this film literally ends with the arrival of Kang and ties into the Kang Dynasty. But let me know what you guys think about this project and let me know how excited you guys are for New World Order. Number 4 is Loki Season 2. Season 1 of Loki was a big time-traveling adventure that pinned the god of mischief against the time variant's authority. Loki made friends with Mobius and allied himself along Sylvie, a variant of his own. On an adventure to find the rulers of the TVA, they discovered that it was a Kang variant in charge of the entire thing, known as He Who Remains. He was puppeteering the timelines of the MCU all the way up to his appearance in Loki Season 1. In Season 1, Sylvie was a lost variant of Loki that grew more vengeful over the TVA and was being chased down timeline after timeline. She eventually made her way all the way up to meeting He Who Remains and does what she promised herself that she would do, and that's kill He Who Remains. This opened the door for more variants of Kang to emerge. This also meant the continuation of the TVA under a more ruthless. Sylvie essentially set the MCU up for a new multiversal war with just a single move. I'm amped for this new season of Loki on Disney+. The premise of the show just screams classic sci-fi adventure, and adding the overall threat of a Kang variant makes the show an instant must-see for the multiverse saga. Season 1 taught fans so much of the roles and games Kang will play in the MCU, the concept of timelines, variants, paradoxes, and reality itself were all explored. To me, this show is as good as any American version of Doctor Who can be. Tom Hiddleston shines in the starring role and will no doubt deliver in season 2. There's a lot of awesome stuff planned for season 2. I can't wait to see what they have planned for Kang. Jonathan Majors absolutely killed it in this first season, so who knows what he has planned for the second one. Number 3 on my list is the Thunderbolts. The Thunderbolts film will be a big tie-in with Captain America New World Order. This reason is because there is simply a lack of information and detail for New World Order, a little bit more for Thunderbolts. The film will follow a group of anti-heroes and villains trying to do the world some good in place of the Avengers. However, the person assembling the crew, Val, has other nefarious schemes in place for the team. The film is set to release after Captain America New World Order and will also feature Harrison Ford as Thunderbolt Ross, where the details of the plot are also very scarce at the moment. We do have concept art of the main cast of characters in the Thunderbolts. Many familiar faces will return from older MCU projects, so it'll be cool to see how this team will in fact gel together. Much like the Suicide Squad, you can expect many within the group to have their own self-motivation. In the comics, this group was later renamed to the Dark Avengers. Could there be a hint that that team could also work its way into this film? Maybe in the post-credits scene we might get a Dark Avengers tease, I'm not quite sure, but I'm excited for this film simply because of the cast of characters that are going to be following with it. I really enjoyed Black Widow, mainly for the characters, not so much for the plot. Bringing back those characters like Yelena Belova, the Red Guardian, into this project and blending them with other MCU characters almost feels like a compilation of redemption for a lot of these characters. And now number 2 on my list is Daredevil Born Again. Despite sharing a similar title with the comics issue of the character, Daredevil Born Again will be a reboot of an already established universe, the Netflix universe. Hell's Kitchen will return alongside its protector and Matt Murdock. Charlie Cox is back in the role, and the show will feature 18 episodes. 18 episodes means that many new or returning characters will be featured on this Disney Plus show. Vincent D'Onofrio will be back as the Kingpin after his appearance in Hawkeye Season 1. With Kingpin portrayed by his own forces in Hawkeye Season 1, I expect a more ruthless Wilson Fisk on this show. There's potential to bring back characters like Jessica Jones, She-Hulk, Echo as well. Daredevil Born Again will be a whole new introduction into the world of the Avengers, a new world where superheroes can literally be roommates with you. Daredevil, in my opinion, can do a good job trying to blend new heroes back into society. Matt Murdock might not share the same powers other heroes might have, but I think this show, much like other MCU projects, will present him in a teacher role for others, teaching Peter Parker, Jen Walters, maybe another hero or two in Born Again. I'm absolutely pumped for this project, and I can't wait to see the Devil of Hell's Kitchen again. Hopefully this is just the beginning of a reintroduction of a lot of older Netflix characters. Before I give my final thoughts, I'd like for you to give this video a thumbs up and hit that like button. Drop a sub and help me get that subscribers number going up. And finally on my number 1 list is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. The first film of Phase 5 is the biggest project in my opinion. Quantumania will have to introduce the MCU to Kang in a large role. Pitting Ant-Man and company versus one of the biggest villains in Marvel Comics is quite the way to kick off Phase 5. The film will also connect directly with the Avengers Kang Dynasty. This makes the Ant-Man sci-fi film a must-see for Phase 5. The multiverse saga and the multiverse war could also kick off during this film. You can see Kang assemble his forces for war and most definitely has a mission for him. Paul Rudd returns to the main role and his character will play a big role in transitioning the MCU into this new era and dynasty. I'm extremely excited for the film, and with it so early in Phase 5, there might be bigger reasons why. If Kang is expected to be seen all across the MCU throughout Phase 5 and possibly Phase 6, revealing him this soon means bigger plans for Jonathan Majors long term. As for Quantumania, the same tool that the Avengers used to defeat Thanos might have opened the door for Kang to emerge. And if Kang is out on the loose, Ant-Man is going to need a lot more help. Coming out February 16th, Quantumania will give MCU fans plenty of Easter eggs to pick out from too. I mean, we already got MODOK in the trailer. Just imagine how much more stuff is going to be teased to fans. But those are my rankings. Please let me know in the comment section below what you guys thought of my list. I would love to hear your guys' opinions over Phase 5 overall. Let me know your favorite projects, some of the ones you think I might be underplaying. Hey, share those comments below. Thanks for watching this video, and I hope you stuck around long enough to drop a like. If you did subscribe, tell me in the comments below. And share your thoughts on topics like this one and others by clicking on the right side of your screen. I appreciate your support, and this has been Joel from Real Talk Movies. See you soon.